How are you, Felix?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, and how's the band?
Yeah, band is quite well, quite undead, but quite well.
Oh,
lot
brilliant.
of lot of stuff going on
Um,
right now.
let's start right at the beginning. What was life like growing up for yourself? Was you always into rock music and music, or was that something which you picked up at a later stage?
So, no, I was not always into rock and metal music. There was like a little key event in my life that basically changed everything, which was when I was like 10 or 11 or something. uh Beforehand I just was listening to everyday radio, like top 40 stuff and everything, but whatever was on the radio I was happy with. But then there was on MTV one song that honestly changed my whole life, and it was Slipknot's Duality. They were huge on MTV back then when it still
Yeah.
existed. And I was watching this video, and I've never seen something like this before. Never ever seen something like this. Those masks, that riff when it was. I mean, I played a little guitar to that time, but it honestly was like I've never heard. And even though I'm not talking, I'm goosebumps. I've never heard anything like that before. And then I was like, all right, let's dig deeper into that genre. And then I was kind of sold to metal and rock. And since then, I'm a slave of metal.
Well, Slipknot. Um, I'm um for myself. I grew up in the 70s, so like the bands which I got into was like Kiss, Alice Cooper, Iron Maiden in the early stages. So but I remember the first time I listened to Slipknot. I was a fan of Mushroomhead before
Ah,
Slipknot,
uh-huh.
and I uh, I had uh, a strange way of getting into music because I would have it. I would go on to like the internet, and there was like bands like Bile and Mushroomhead, and I imported their CDs from America. And
Uh-huh.
then the very first time I listened to Slipknot was with Wait and Bleed.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God, I was hooked. And I was very, very lucky because I got to see Slipknot and I got to meet them. But I got to see them from every single mask from the
Mhm.
very beginning
Wow.
all the way through to our present day. And I've never stopped loving them because they give so much on stage. It's
Absolutely.
but like I'm a massive Kiss fan, so when it
Uh-huh.
comes to bands like yourselves, which we'll talk about in a bit, I like that. I'm not fussed. It's like I'm a Cannibal Corpse fan, but on stage you've got them, and that's it. As bands like yourself, Ghost, Kiss, Alice Cooper, Slipknot, it's a full show, and
Yeah.
it's that is something special. So I can understand when you say about Goosebumps and all that, talking about Slipknot, because they are a quality band.
And
But
Slipknot is one of those bands I think that have a very special vibe and contain something very special that only a few bands have. To me, that's maybe, I mean, just to name a few, but there's Slipknot that have done something completely different. There's Korn, there's maybe Meshuggah also that's
yeah,
not been there before. And right now on this kind of in those days you can always relate where the main writer is, from which direction he's coming from. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's I mean, we are who we are, and this is no problem because we all come from somewhere and we all have our influences. But those
yeah.
bands were something that had something very unforeseen
Yeah.
in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. How did the band come about? How did Dominum come about? Was it how did you form the band, and what gave you the ideas of Dr. Dead and the rest of, well, I'll call them ghouls, but they're zombies, really, ain't they?
Yeah, they're zombies.
So how did it come all about?
Ghouls would be a little bit too much of the band that you have on your cap, right? So I was in the middle of, because I'm also producing bands, and I was in the middle of a production, and it was a very special time because it was during the first COVID lockdown. It was very, very strict here in Germany. And you were just allowed to work and not with a lot of people. And then those guys, they came around, and it was like, I don't know how it was with you, but you tried to suck up all human contact you had, like the best way possible. So if a friend came over, you really had to make sure that you have the best beer and that you have like the best stuff, because you have to, was an event, meeting people, right? And it was such a special time for me. Like it was the production of Vision of Atlantis Pirates album, and it was a wonderful time with wonderful people and very inspiring as well. And of course, when you're in the studio and you have like a little, basically a parrot on your shoulder because you're a pirate now, you are thinking about that stuff. And I have a dedication for zombies since I'm 12 years old, because this is basically when I watched Dawn of the Dead, and it was like it's a bit like Slipknot. It changed a bit my life, right? Because it's like this time of your life where the socialization happens. The albums that you listened to when you were 12 to maybe 16, 15, 16, they will haunt you in your whole life. I'm afraid. And so it was with zombies. And then I was like doing pirate songs with the pirate band. It was like one, and then it came like a bling, why is there no zombie band? Is there a zombie band? And then I did some research, and I was like, all right, in the kind of sector that I'm familiar with and that I love to do, there is no zombie band. There are Vikings, there are pirates, there's fucking everything, but there's no zombie. And now I know why, because it's fucking difficult to make a good zombie band. But then this is where I was like, all right, let's do it, because it's a delicate thing to do if you're a full-time producer and you now switch to being a band again. I mean, obviously I was in a band when I was like 14 to 18 years old or 20 years old, but it's a different thing when you do that in your 30s, right? Than when you form a band with 14, when you just get in the basement of your mom and do some noise, because now everyone has kind of a life, and to make that step right now feels a bit different than it was like back in the days. But I thought about this very carefully, about 7 minutes, and then I called my friends and asked them, hey, do you want to be with me in a zombie band? And fortunately, every one of those buddies said, yeah, sure, why not? This is how it happened, actually.
Well,
and you have to be very convincing, because actually I was saying, so would you be interested in doing a zombie band with me? Actually, you will have to wear a mask which you can barely breathe through. Does that sound interesting to you? And everyone was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Who came up with the mask designs? Did each musician or member of the band come up with their own, or was that something which you did?
No, it was with an artist from Berlin who was really, I kind of found him on Instagram because I was researching zombie things, because there are many ways you can be a zombie. I mean, obviously, you can do it with makeup, but the thing is, I mean, I'm a singer, I'm a musician. I can't fucking put makeup in my face that looks decent. I mean, I can like buy in the shop a little scar and put it here, but you won't look like a proper zombie. And the thing is, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why there is no proper zombie band, because it looks really cheap really quickly. And I found this guy who has a dedication for horrible things, like manufacturing body parts for movies and everything. and then we had a quick phone call, and it felt like really we were clicking very well, very nicely. And then I just like came over to Berlin and visited him in his little studio that he had. And I can tell it was so crazy because there were body parts everywhere. When you went to the bathroom in his studio and you closed the door from the inside, there was a corpse hanging on the door. Man, it was fucking horrible. When I went out to his studio, I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. But he has like that. He had the dedication. He had the right dedication. You could immediately tell he was on fire with the whole project. And we ping-ponged a few ideas, and he came up with a few nice things. And then we tried to find the right character for each band member, because all the masks are done on the face. There are no generic masks. They are like it was also that the process where the masks were made was ridiculous, because basically the whole head gets covered in a chemical thing, and just one hole in your nose was free to breathe, and you have to be in that thing for 20 minutes. And he didn't tell any of the guys what was about to happen, because otherwise they would have for sure said, no, fuck off, I'm not doing that. But he just put the whole heads into those things, and just the little nose was a don't panic right now, this is not the time for panic. Yeah, but this is actually how the designs were made, with great help of Klaus in Berlin. Yeah,
I listened to and watched your video with Cannibal Corpse, and I was like, I was a bit taken back, because like some of the bands which I've already mentioned, like Alice Cooper, Ghost, Slipknot, you've got an image, and that so you automatically think that your music is going to be in a certain direction. And then when I listened to it, I was like, fucking hell, this is fucking good. Like, and so I watched more of your videos, and I was like, this is something I can get behind, because like, as you're saying about the band on my head, you see their visuals, but their music is very well. Your music is very, very similar, and you got an amazing voice. It's quality. So yeah, I was a bit shocked listening, because I hadn't listened to the album. I only received it today from the record label, so I have to quickly have a listen to the album, and it's good. It's really,
thank you
really
so
good.
much. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you.
Going on to the music videos, are the music videos which are out now, are those songs connected to the new album?
Yes, all of them, all of the songs that were released. No, all the songs that were released are also on the record that will come out on 29th.
Oh, how did you go about doing your music videos? Did you did the label help you with that, or was there something which you put all your focus yourself and the band into?
Well, actually, we are really free in what we can do. So the first video that we ever did was Patient Zero, because it's like in chronologically it also makes sense, because it's like at some point you can't things just design on paper or in your head, they have to get real at some point. And it kind of really made sense to kind of really have the birth of the first zombie with Doctor in his lab, to have that as a starting shot, if you can say that in English, as a starting shot for the whole thing, because each zombie, and also me playing Dr. Dead, they all have to find who they are, and we are no actors, we are we don't go to acting school, so the best thing is to just throw yourself in the pool of sharks and see what happens, right? And this is what we did. We had this awesome location on the first video with Patient Zero. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
I'm not sure if I've seen that one. I know I've seen Cannibal Corpse, and I did watch a second one. I can't remember because I watched them last night when I was in bed.
Yeah.
And because I haven't been well, that's how I missed the last interview.
No worries.
So and like I say, I haven't had chance to really study the album because I didn't get it till late today. But
no worries.
I had to listen to the album, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking good!" Like, sending text messages to everyone about it.
What I was about to say is that in this very music video of Patient Zero, the setting of the whole location was really it was a lab, and there was like this typical room on the other side of the window where the zombie was coming back to life. And it was really nice thing to experience that, because when you have the makeup on and when you have like the lights are on, you kind of develop the other person that you are about to play. We just let it happen, which was a nice thing. It was also kind of risky because I'm very glad that Dr. Dad didn't shit his pants or something. But we just let it happen, and it kind of turned out to be great. And those little things in the video, you can see that Dr. Dad has a little scar over his eye, and then he developed this little tick with his eye. All of that happens like in the first video shoot. That was very, very nice thing.
Is there concept behind your stage presence? Is there a story about you all, about Dr. Dead and your zombies? Is there like there's what is the concept behind it?
So the overall concept for me to form a band is, my goal is to make the people happy, to make the people have a good time, because there is life kind of, even though we are living in kind of privileged countries, but there's such horrible things going on stage, and you kind of get so many bad news all day, like when you switch on the telly. So to turn off a little bit and have a good time, I go to a show, and I go to a festival. And when I don't know, when I'm at Wacken, and there is even when there's a band on stage that I don't like too much, I just grab a beer and be in the audience and just enjoy it, because like everyone around you is kind of like you and just wants to have a good time. So this is my main goal for the whole project. Like the Felix talking, if you ask now Dr. Dad, he has like the same approach maybe, but the idea is executed a bit differently, because you can't talk people into being metal zombies. You have to have a little bit more tricks, and this is where the serum of Dr. Dad gets into place. His vision is that if we all were metal zombies, the world would be a better place. Because when you are if we go back to Wacken, they're just good people. People who listen to metal music, who listen to rock music, who just want to have a good time. Those people don't start wars, So so the mission and vision of Dr. Dad is, let's get all people to be metal zombies, and then we will all live happily and peacefully.
When you've done live shows, have you looked into the crowd and seen fans wearing masks, zombie masks?
We recently played a show together with a German band called Hämatom, and each year they do a Zombieland show, which is a dedicated zombie show. And that was really funny, because usually when I talk as Dr. Dead, I tell the people, and we will come for you, no worries, it won't hurt that much, blah, blah, blah. But usually, as we are mainly supporting bands right now at this point, there are not many zombies in the audience. But at this particular show, it was very funny, because all people that that came dressed up as zombies, I think they got some discount for beer or whatever. So like basically all of the people were dressed up as zombies. It was so funny. There was this one guy in the first row who had like this huge makeup. It was amazing. And in his hand he held a beer and a pretzel, and during the show he was biting here and there. It was so funny.
You will get, when your band gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you will get people dressing up as yourself.
I mean, for sure that might happen, but the overall idea of that, or maybe an ideal situation, could be when Rocky Horror Picture Show came to the cinemas. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. People went there and they all dressed up and they all had a massive party. And basically that might be the bigger picture in here, because yeah, everyone was singing, everyone was dancing, and everyone was dressing up, just having a good time.
Heavy metal zombies, a plague of an old festival.
Exactly.
Your debut album, A Living People, is coming out at the end of the month on the 29th. Can you tell me a bit about the writing and the recording process which you go through?
Yeah, sure. You might think that as a music producer, it's kind of an easy thing to do, but to be honest, all of my easiness that I usually have in my job, like in helping bands enhance their vision or help them to maybe go one step further, all of this didn't apply to my own music, unfortunately, because it's like you are so blind when you write the songs, when you arrange them, when you do everything, you are kind of, you don't get the bigger picture. And then I can get there, but it just takes much time, really much time. So that was kind of a hassle. And also when you do a project from scratch, freedom is a great thing, like musical freedom to do whatever you want, but it's also where do we start and where does it end, you know? Because when you're Ghost, it's unlikely that you do some drum arrangements or vocal performances like Cannibal Corpse. It's very unlikely. So you have to define that a little bit, and that took quite some time. And then basically when I had the songs done, I showed them to the boys and asked them what they think, and fortunately they liked it. And then everything came to life, because I'm a very poor guitar player and I can play some drums and I can play some piano and everything, but I wouldn't consider myself being a guitar player. So when a proper guitar player plays proper riffs over music, it's just a different thing. So that was very nice. And also we did some great drum recordings with Jacob Hansen in Denmark in his studio, which is very known for this very unique drum set that he does. That was also a very great experience. He also mixed the record, also mastered the record. That was very, very nice experience, very nice human being that really understood where we were going and really enhanced everything. So maybe that was the fresh pair of ears that was needed for this record, so that he could like get rid of the unnecessary stuff and enhance the important stuff.
Yeah. Well, like I say, whatever process you've done for this album, keep doing it, because it's a brilliant, brilliant album.
Thank you very much.
What touring plans have you got for 2024?
So we have a release tour with Apokalyptischen Reiter and Equilibrium at the end of this year, and in the next year we are going on tour together with Feuerschwanz and Orden Ogan, mainly Germany, and we have some tours in Europe planned, some shows in Europe planned, but most of the stuff I can't say right now because it's not confirmed yet, and it's just a very tricky thing to announce things that are not confirmed, but we will have a busy year. This is what I can say. And we are, of course, planning also to come over to UK, but to this day, there's nothing announced yet.
that was going to be my last question. Is there any plans for the future
Yeah, sure.
to come to the UK?
UK is always great audience. I've been there so many times with other bands and also in different positions, and it's always a nice thing to be on tour in UK, having proper breakfasts, having proper people. But
Well, all I can say is this has been a blast. I have loved every single minute of it. Good luck on the 29th with the album.
thank you
It's
much.
like I say, it's a brilliant, brilliant album. I've been texting people left, right, and center, telling them you gotta keep an eye out for this album coming out, and good luck with it. And I do hope to see you in the UK in 2024. And if we do, I'll have to meet up.
Yeah, sure. Just send me over a message and we'll just see face to face. It would be a great pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for this. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
say hello to the rest of the zombies. And
I will.
and good luck for the 29th.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
And yourself. Okay, good night.
Ciao.